Welcome to the Restoration Room, a space designed for rebuilding, for healing, and finding your way back to wholeness. Here, we get real about mental health, spiritual recovery, and the wounds left behind by life, toxic church culture, or personal brokenness.
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Restoration Room. This is a place where you come in broken and you can leave rebuilt. And guess what? You also learn how to stay whole. I'm your host. You already know who I am, but in case you don't, it's me. I'm Ryan. And today we're stepping into a conversation that honestly, I think touches every part of our lives. No matter how much healing we've done, no matter how much we have grown, no matter what we've experienced, the real test, it shows up in how you connect with people. And relationships, they have a way of revealing what's still unhealed. They have a way of showing us that we are still growing in areas that we are weak, and they also have a way of showing us what has truly changed. And if we are honest today in the Restoration Room, some of us have done the work internally, but when it comes to relationships, we're still trying to figure some stuff out, trying to figure out what's healthy for us, what's safe for us, and honestly, after being healed, what really aligns with who we are now. So that's why this conversation matters today. Today, I'm being joined by two powerful voices and two brothers of mine that are impactful, Antone Major and James Reddick. Together today, we are going to talk about what it looks like to choose connection from wholeness. We're going to talk about how healed people, how they date, friend, and fellowship differently, and how to recognize the difference between what's safe and what's familiar. And also, we talk about how to break some cycles. These cycles of unhealthy attachments. Oh my goodness. Because again, healed people, we don't just love, we love differently. So you already know what to do. You know where you are. Lean in, take a deep breath, stay open, and let's grow together. This is the Restoration Room. Come on, it's time to get to work.
So take a seat, take a breath, and lean in, because restoration starts right here in the Restoration Room. Starts right here in the Restoration
What up, everybody? Welcome back to the Restoration Room. I'm hyped today because we are at week 7. We are more than halfway through the second season, and it has been mind-blowing to talk about actually living whole and living after like the healing process and all the things, right? So now I have two guests being with me today. This is my first time having two guests, so we're going to see how this works out. But I have my two bros, Antone Major and James Reddick. I'm so excited to have them with me tonight. I'm going to give them a quick second just to introduce themselves. Antone, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name's Antone Major, pastor of Kingdom Builders alongside my wife, Irene Major, and I love to teach. Amen.
This man teaches down too. I just want y'all to know that it's
factual.
He has made other teachers that I know that I thought were phenomenal be like, oh, y'all basic. This man is a teacher's teacher. James, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Everything Antone said except different wife, and I want to aspire to be the teacher that he is. So everything he said, just plug and play some specifics.
Oh man, it's too funny. We are three introverts having a whole conversation. This is going to be fun. Today, we are talking about choosing connection from wholeness. So last week, y'all, we talked about emotional growth, emotional maturity, and spiritual maturity, and really talking about after you've been healed, you really react to some stuff a little different, and
Hmm.
how you should really react as a saved person, but as a healed saved person. We react as opposed to respond, or we respond rather than react, and being swift to hear and slow to speak and all those things, right? But this week, now we are moving into a topic that I think a lot of people don't often discuss, and if they do, it's in I'll say probably a shady way or in a favoritism way. Talking about like healthy love and safe relationships. I think the truth is this: when you are healed, you don't connect with everybody the same way. It is like a thing that it changes you. Healing changes. And when it changes you, it changes your appetite for things, right? So what are y'all thoughts? So give me a little bit of your mind. Let's go to the teacher first. Anton, what you got on your mind?
I agree. I think I mean, I was just talking about this yesterday. Your perspective of a lot of things change as your experiences change. So when you go from a place of being broken and having relationships, it looks vastly different. When now I'm healed, I understand who I am. I understand my identity. And now I'm approaching relationships completely different because you can't handle me the same way. So
Hmm.
I absolutely agree. It's a different mindset, a different approach, just a different way of being.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Being handled is. Whew, go ahead, bro.
No, I was just going to say, healing is such a process.
Yeah.
It's such a laborious process that once you get through that process, or all that it took you to get there, you just really don't have the capacity to deal with things the same way, because it took
Hmm.
me all of this to get where I am right now. And so I can't, if anything's going to take me backwards or stunt that, then I can't find myself in this situation, because it took a lot for me to get to this place.
I
Hmm.
agree. Capacity matters. Like for real, it really matters because some things I just don't have the tolerance for anymore. I used to watch stuff like little different reels and stuff on Instagram of certain Christian comedians or people that just want to be funny, and stuff that they used to do, like things that I used to find funny. When God started like really healing me and changing things in me, I was like, this stuff not funny no more. Like what happened to old content? And then I started looking through the old content. I'm like, yeah, no, it's still the same person doing the same thing, and it's just
Right.
not funny
You're
no
the one that
more.
changed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's okay that they're still there, but I'm just not there anymore. I
Right.
don't live there
Right.
anymore. Listen, how do y'all think? I know you both are married. I'm the single one. I'm the oddball out, the elephant in the room. So give me some advice. Like how, as a healed person now, how do you date as a healed person? What does that look like?
Oh man, it's hard for me to even tell you. It's been 30 years since I dated anybody, and I married that person. So
I love that.
it is
One and
difficult.
done.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll
Not
agree to
done, but
that.
still going.
I will say, like, watching my children is different. They are um, they know what they want.
Mhm.
My middle child, Nicole, she is very focused on what she wants, and so it's not easy dating her.
Mm.
Her flexibility isn't quite like what some people's would be when you don't have an idea or a clue of what your future looks like. Like when
Yeah.
you know, you just don't tolerate everything.
Yeah. True
Like you
story.
you can come around and say, "Oh man, I think we should do," and she'll look at you funny like, "No, this is what we're doing." So either you agree or you can keep on moving.
Yo, that's funny.
That would be the only thing that I have on dating. Trying to
Okay.
remember back to when I was dating. It was I don't know, it was different. It was different. I don't think I'll say it this way. I'm glad I met my wife.
Hmm.
Before we were married, I'm glad I met her. She was different. She was church. She was more grounded. We
Hmm.
both had our issues, but I didn't have to deal with certain stuff because even though we had issues, it was still
Yeah.
church issues. So it
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we we could at least get through certain things. We didn't have the baby mama drama
Hmm.
and
Hmm. Thank
all
God.
that different
Oof.
type of stuff. It was easier for us because we could get along. Now, prior to her, Yeah, I had some I don't know what the world would call them nowadays. But they weren't women. Amen. And uh and it was just different. It was the mindset was different. And this is while I was in church. So the
Yeah,
mindset's different, and it's hard to agree with certain things, hard to line up with certain things, and it just makes the relationship harder.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
What
I
you got
think
for
for
me,
me, it
James?
wasn't necessarily that I was healed when I started dating, and I'll just
Mm,
be churchy for 2 seconds, but I was healed as I went. So,
okay.
like I can identify with Antone when he says I think that he met his wife because, the Lord did allow me to have someone that will walk with me through the healing process. And so we
Mm,
grew together. We were able
nice.
to do those things together. Neither one of us came in the situation like, all right, I got all my stuff together or a majority of my stuff together. Like, we still had ways to go, but we were willing to, stay in there with one another through that process.
I want to be like y'all when I grow up.
I'm gonna tell
Yeah,
you something, especially since you're older. I think you'll have it a little bit easier. Not saying it's gonna be easy,
you
it'll
think
be
so?
easier. I don't know how
Um,
old Reddick was when he got married.
33.
I was about to say,
33.
not you
Oh,
doing math in your head.
right, right. I listen. Before we even got on here, I was trying to calculate the years I've been married, just in case that question came up. But when we were 20 when
Yeah,
we were married, and so it's different when you're 20
Mhm.
and you still need to go through the healing process, and you still
yeah.
need to go because there's things that we don't know. Like we literally laughed about it just recently, how we handle situations when we were 20
Hmm.
as opposed to how we handle situations now. Like
Yeah.
full transparency, we've had a car repossessed because we
Hmm.
got behind on the payment and just said, "Oh well."
Yeah.
Whereas now, you get a little behind on the payment, you just call and be like, "Hey man, just move that to the back. Like
Right,
let's work
right.
something out." Like you
Maturity.
learn, yeah, you learn some things, but so you already passed those years of, I'm gonna just let that slide because I don't know any other any other choice.
Well, but see, then it's the flip side because when you're older, then you're setting your ways so much.
Oh
And
yeah,
so
Yeah, that's
learning a
true.
new person and learning their routines and all those things, it's like, no, this is the way I do this, and this is
I
the
can tell you
way.
right now, that's one of my struggles. I was like, look, either get with the program or don't, because this is where we are.
listen, that's exactly why I told Irene after this, I'm done. I'm not doing this again. I don't have no
I
time
hear
to
you.
train somebody else and
That's
nothing like
part.
that and have them get used to how I am and changing the sheets and no, no, I don't
Bro,
have no time for that. My
did you see that
OCD come out and I don't need that to frustrate you.
I hear
Exactly.
that. Did you see that
Exactly.
that it was this little video that went viral on Instagram of the old lady? She was like, "You're not going anywhere. I worked real hard to train you." I said that to my friends. I was like, "Hey, y'all, I hope y'all know y'all stuck with me. You're not going anywhere. I don't have time
Listen.
to find good friends again. Like, what are we doing?"
How
But
about
no,
that?
but even in finding friendships, even in this space of being of healing, whether you are healed or healing, as James said, like it's different now because it's almost the same thing. I feel like it's the same thing as like courtship, just on a different level, right? Like you're just I'm not trying to connect with everybody. I don't want to connect with everybody because everyone is not safe for me. Everyone's
Hmm.
not safe for me. But there's some that you just immediately just mesh with, and then there's others that you'd be like, it's a three prong and a two chord and a two prong type thing, you know? It's weird, but I think that one of the things for me is being able to recognize what's safe. Being able to recognize safe relationships, it can be tough because I know for myself, because I always put myself on the line. I have walls. Like I have walls up that I'm not trying to let down because I've been through too much. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to sacrifice my peace for other people and for their trial and error. So my close friends, for some, it took a lot for me to become close to them. For others, like you two, it was just like, here we are, you know. But how do you guys, in our age, I guess, or in our big age and in our healed state, how do you guys recognize what safe relationships look like?
All right. So for me, I feel like I always see them say it on social media. It's a strict program over here. Things are kind of strict, right?
Uh-huh,
So if we are
uh-huh.
100, like we're just polar opposites, it doesn't mean that, we can't be friends, but it is something to consider even going
Yeah,
into the friendship.
yeah.
But then I think also, I lost it. I forgot what I was going to say.
Okay, we'll come back to you.
45 kicks my butt all the time.
It's catching up to you. It's
It's
catching up to
Yeah.
catching up,
me.
brother.
I gotta write notes all the time.
So,
So what do you think, Anto, recognizing safe
Um,
spaces?
Recognizing safe spaces. So I'm gonna say now, and please don't misunderstand what I'm about to say. I
Hmm.
think friendship is actually harder work than marriage,
Mm,
and I don't
okay.
say that because it's easy to be married. But when you've been with someone for a certain length of time, y'all have gotten to a groove. Even your
hmm
changes, you know that
Hmm.
change is coming. You see that change coming, and you just adjust. But when it comes to friendships, it's harder work because number one, you don't have the same time with that person that you do with your spouse.
Yeah.
Uh, then there is the other portion of it where what is this friendship actually about? Like
hmm
I have a few friends. I have one good friend, and this one good friend taught me friendship in a way that I never went back on. So when you call me a friend, understand this is what you're getting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
at a point where me and Irene were not seeing eye to eye, and he was coaching me through it, but I came to him one day and I said some things that she said, and I'm airing out, I'm letting it all off my chest.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and, he said, "Well, is it true?" And I looked at him and said, what do you mean, is it true?" He's like, "Everything she said, is it true? Because if it's true, you need to fix it. If it's not,
Mm,
then we can pray about it. We can pray for her about it. But if it's
yeah.
true, you need to fix it." And I left
Hmm.
there mad because I'm thinking, you my friend. You're supposed to
You're
have
supposed
my
to be on my
back.
on my
side.
Right.
side.
You're supposed to be on my side.
This ain't how this work. You supposed to be agreeing with me and everything I'm saying. And I left and I came back. We worked the same job. I went back maybe a day or two later and I sat down with him and he said, "I could tell you was upset." I said, "Yeah, yeah. I had her all right because you're my friend." He said, "But I wouldn't be a good friend if I watch your marriage fail and I didn't
Yeah.
help."
Yeah,
He
that's
said, "I wouldn't
friendship
be a
right
good
there.
friend if I watch you run into a brick wall and I don't
Hmm.
stop you."
Yeah.
And from that position, I've learned what the value of true friendship. We're not talking about something now. I expect the same thing from my spouse, but I'm expecting so much more. And because of that time frame, because of the 26 years we've been married, you know, bad days aren't nearly as bad on somebody who's only been married 5.
Mm,
And we can adjust to it. But for a friendship, it's kind of like you got to hear hard truths sometimes that your spouse isn't going to give you because I love you too much to hurt your feelings. And they're like, "I love you too, but man
this
of
boy.
God,
hmm Pull it
I
together.
tell you
Yeah.
something, right?"
Get it together right
And it's
now.
the same thing for her. Like there's things I could see and I don't say anything, and then one of her friends come along and say, "Irene, now you know better," and I'd be like, "Thank you, Jesus," because I wanted to say it, but I can't. You know what I'm saying? And so
Hmm.
I really think that when it comes to friendships, it's a lot harder work. It takes a little more effort. Again, not discrediting marriage as being easy, but when you put time in, it gets
Yeah.
easier. Things get
Yeah.
easier. Those
Yeah.
adjustments get
True.
easier. And with friendships, you be friends for 2 seconds and then that friendship is over and now you got to work on a
Yeah.
whole new one, or you have new people that come in at certain transitions of your life that now require you to have to build up that type of relationship, that type of tower between the two of you where you can literally say anything to me, offended or not. I'm going to take it because I know you're saying it in love.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I got it, Ryan. So
Come on, bro. Come on with it, bro.
that is what it was. You spoke about the three of us being introverts, and I
Mm,
think that a part of that comes with observation. And so
mm,
when you ask about recognizing a safe space, it's because we have observed how you deal with others, how you deal with situations, not just how you deal with others, but how you deal with situations altogether. Because a
yeah.
part of my healedness is I don't want a bunch of drama. So if you always have drama going on, then you're not a safe space for me. You know, for
Mm,
somebody else, you might be, for me, you're not a safe space. So a part of that definitely is observation. And then also knowing how I react to you. Sometimes we feel like, it's all about something sexual or that's what goes into place when you're thinking of a romantic, outlook. But really for my friends as well, how do I walk away from an encounter with you? Am I drained all the time? Because
mm-mm.
then again, you may not be a safe space. God may need me in your life for a particular, reason and
Hmm.
season, whatever, but you may not be a safe space for me all the time. Like I can't
Yeah,
leave the situation every time we have a conversation and I'm drained. Or like my
yeah,
central
yeah.
nervous system is just going crazy and I can't figure out why, I
Mm.
feel tense whenever you're around. That's my body. That's, telling me
He's telling
that's
me,
not a safe
yeah,
space. Yeah.
Hmm.
run like a cheetah.
Hmm.
Exactly.
I don't drink,
Yeah,
but I need a drink.
right. Like, where's my solo cup?
Something.
Where's my red
Red
cup
cup me,
at?
please.
Yeah, I think too that being able to recognize what's safe, also there's like the counter to that in a sense, if you will, is like being in familiar friendships too. Familiar friendships and relationships. I talked a few weeks ago with Stacia Wilkins, and we were talking about how not to like go backwards and relapse into our old ways. But familiarity has been something that God has really been dealing with me about. Like he's been dealing with me about familiarity in worship and familiarity with who he is, but also showing me who is familiar to me, but not really friends to me. So it's like my friends know that if I say, "Oh, that's my homie," they're like, "Oh, okay." That's just a homie. But if I call you friend, if I call you bro, if I call you sis, then they're like, oh no, this is somebody that's really important and really close to him. But I think that familiarity for me is like one of those things where I can see what I used to see in someone else that made me walk away. And I immediately, red flag, this ain't it. This is not safe. Don't even do that. Don't go that way. And like you said, James, like sometimes I think that people, we know that we're called to some people because we're called to them. But I
Hmm.
used to tell my friends all the time, stop sleeping with your assignment because we out here getting intimate, and I'm not even talking about sexually, right? But we're getting intimate with people that we are supposed to hold at six or arm's length because that's what God assigned us to. They're an assignment to us rather than what we make them, you know?
That's good. Yeah.
Amen. That's true.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, when we get into like familiar spaces, we then have to realize what kind of cycles that we were in, that we used to go into, like these unhealthy cycles, these unhealthy coping mechanisms. Like, like James, like you said, like if I walk away from a conversation from you and I'm just like, oof, I can't take you for another 2 to 3 days or even 2 to 3 weeks. That's an unhealthy cycle. That's an unhealthy attachment. So how do you guys recognize those things in friendships and even areas in your relationships that they're unhealthy, and how do you detach? How do you end those cycles?
I'm the wrong person to ask because I can walk away from people quickly. Like
I
there, there is nothing in me. Like the minute I notice it, it's like, nah, I need to cut this off, and
check
that's it.
deuces.
Like there's no email, no text message, nothing. It's just that's it.
Did it take a lot to get there though? Because for me, I'm like, if I call you a friend, I'm relationship oriented. So I'm like, I'll fight to the death. So like, did it take a lot for you to get there, or have you always been that way?
No, I haven't always been that way. Number one, I don't refer to everybody as friend.
Same.
Um, I don't refer to everybody as friend. Like I said, for me, that honesty is key for me. Like, and not just it's not a one way street. I got to be as honest with you as you are with me, because the whole point is for us to grow. And so, at the moment I realize you can't handle that honesty, it's like, maybe we need to distance ourselves. Like, you could be an associate at this point. We
Mhm.
talk, but
Yeah.
we not
We
that
ain't yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So for me, it did build up to it. I won't say I was trusting. I've always been guarded, but
Hmm.
it was easier for people to get in. Nowadays, it's like, you know, you got to come through my wife first.
Vetting
I
process.
get that.
Right.
Absolutely.
After I see how you handle her, then they cool. They're all right. I'll accept them.
Hilarious. I think that was is that how I became your friend? I went to your wife first.
Yeah, yeah. I because we
Me?
didn't talk before then.
You're right, we
We didn't
didn't.
talk before then. It was Yeah, it was through my wife.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true. We clicked, like she and I, we clicked immediately as soon as we met. It was funny. She and I were talking the other day about 1 year at the Pastors and Leaders Conference. She said, "Ryan, you asked a question that silenced the whole room," and then everybody looked at you, and your response was, "Well, we paid, and we said to ask the question." He was like, "I knew he was." She was like, "He's all right with me." That was like the beginning of our friendship. But James, like, what's your take on it, bro?
I think it for me it's been in like levels. It
Mm,
depends on the situation. Like I'll just say when you spoke about attachments, so if I know
yeah.
that, you may require a little bit more of me than I can give,
Mm,
that one, because that is familiar for me. I've been in friendships where, they just didn't realize that I had 30 other things, going on. And so the
mm,
level that they needed was just a little bit more than I could give. I can recognize that really early on and say, we don't even have to really, go too far with this because I'm not going to be able to be the friend that you need in this time.
yeah, yeah.
So that's something that's easy for me to identify, but there may be other things that I won't really, see until we are well into this friendship. And now I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna get out of this one.
Elliot, just walk away.
He
Forget
said,
it. You
just
know
walk
what?
away.
Just walk away.
You're cut. You're
Change
cut.
their name
Yeah,
in your
this is,
phone
yep.
to spam likely.
Delete, block. Oh man, it's funny. I really wish that I could have that, that mindset, Antone, because like I'd be like sometimes I'm like, man, I remember when, and then I start to remember all the good times, but then I forget about the bad times. So I always tell people all the time, I keep text messages and I keep pictures because whenever I have dementia, I can go back and refer to those so that I know whether something was true or not. One of my biggest communication methods is through text. So
Mm.
I don't have the energy to talk to everybody. Everybody don't. You can't get this. My bro called me today and he was like, "All right, I know I'm past my 3 4 minutes of at the end of your day, so I'm gonna hang up the phone. I'll talk to you tomorrow." Like, you know, when I go to those text messages, I see what happened before,
Mhm.
and that for me helps me to avoid those unhealthy attachments because how it ended, 9 times out of 10, it's probably still gonna be the same mess going on, or you're gonna have the same kind of clashing. So that's for me, that's my safeguard. That's my way to get out of things. But it's hard because I am very relationship driven. So if I call you friend, if I call you bro, not the homies, not the, just if I call you friend and I call you bro and you turn toxic, it's tough. It's tough for me to let go. I don't know why. It just kind of is. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna hold on to the end, and the end coming. I'm still holding on, but then I'm like, all right, I gotta let. At some point, I just be like, all right, I gotta let this go. Like some things have got to change, and some things have got to flip.
Yeah, I have the unfortunate combination of both being an introvert and not being very emotional. So
Mm,
that's what makes it easy for me to walk because I'm not emotionally attached to a lot of even my closest of friends. I'm not emotionally attached to them. So it's kind of
really?
like and please don't misunderstand. It's not to say I don't
Yeah.
love them,
Right. Right. Right.
but because I don't have, I'm not a strong emotional person. I don't
Okay.
display affection and all that different type of stuff. If you ever talk to Irene about me, she'll tell you how many years it took for me to
Mm,
be an affectionate person to her, and she kept telling me she needed it, and it just wasn't something that's in me. And so, like for me, I'm not the most emotional person, and I'm an introvert. So it's like I'm
mhm.
already fine by myself. I don't.
Yep.
I
I
don't need
don't need
nobody
this.
else.
Yeah, I don't need this at all.
I don't need this. I'm good.
That's, like, I'm an only child. I'm good. Like I'm good.
Listen, bro, I was the only child until like 13, and at that point, it didn't matter. I could eat,
Yeah.
cook, clean, do for myself. So y'all
Hmm.
rock on with them babies. I'm be over here in my room. But no, but like it's that's interesting. I feel like I used to be that way at one point. Very unemotionally attached to people and to things. I don't know what happened. It was like a switch that turned on. I don't know what happened. I don't know how I got there.
I've always been this way.
Anton said,
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
identify. He said, I don't
Were you
know.
the
He
only
said,
child? Were you the only child, Antone?
No,
No?
I'm
Oh.
not. But me and my brother are so much night and day Like
Mm.
you would think I was an only child.
Okay, okay, cool. That's how me and my siblings are. Even though they're like obviously younger than me, we're very much like night and day. We can sit in the room. We know that we love each other, but it's okay that we don't talk while we're in the room. My sister came to my bowling party and sat in the corner. She was fine just being there. But yeah. So I think that a lot of times when we look at these types of things, we don't always see or identify like what wolves in sheep's clothing. I guess that's the easiest way I can do it, right? I can put it is we don't always identify those easy things. Bishop Knight said something at my church recently. He said, we have to be able to make sure we align ourselves with God's will, even if what He wants is not what we want. And I was just like, wow, that's like really, really tough because at some point growing up, I guess, in the boom of social media, like when it first started, because I had MySpace and I just knew I was a web designer. I had the backgrounds, I had the
All of
music.
it.
You couldn't tell me I wasn't doing coding, even though I was just copying and pasting that from off of Google. But like,
That's
you
funny.
know, growing up in that space, from my perspective as a teenager or an aging teenager now, is people began to put themselves in a light that you thought was so cool and so popular. And so I tried to like fit in, but I could never fit in. And then sometimes I did fit myself in there, but I was like wedging myself like the
Mm-hmm.
circle peg going into a
Mm-hmm.
octagon peg or something like that. Like I wedged myself in there, knowing I shouldn't have been there. But like I ignored those signs and I ended up getting hurt or getting cheated or getting something that just it didn't end well for me. So I think that one of those things is like as we are healed people, we have to be able to identify those signs. We have to be able to identify and be okay with the fact that you are a different shape and you are a different size and you are a different breed. Like the
Mm-hmm.
scripture tells us we're all fearfully and wonderfully made. And one of the revelations for me that I got out of that is that I really am unique. There may be people who have things that are like me. We may like some similar things, but I'm legit my own.
Right.
And I have to be okay with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think just listening to you here, listening to you talk, what comes to mind though is that we have to be careful, and not saying that I'm not speaking about you. I'm just thinking
Sure you're not.
that we have to we have to be careful that our healedness doesn't make us unhealthy though, or unhealed. And so
Wow.
sometimes because we get to that place where I feel like, this is the place that I am. We get stuck. We can get stuck in this. And so where if God wants to expand us or does want to give us an assignment and we're like, no, I don't have time for that, then now we're not submitting. We're now it's unhealthy because I'm not, to what Bishop said, doing God's will that's different than my will. My will can very well be I'm content sitting in this chair in this room in my own little
Mm-hmm.
corner in my own little room and being fine. And God is saying, go do this, do this, do this, join the fellowship. Just that in itself can be a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just making sure that in our, our idea of wholeness and healness doesn't turn into something the complete opposite.
That's true. Because sometimes I have to put the group chat on silent. It's enough. It's too much. But no, like I get it though. I definitely get it. And that's an interesting point too, that we can't be so healed that we become unhealthy. Or so healed, in other words, that we become toxic. Like those are things that we definitely have to like make sure that we don't that we shy away from, and we become consistently aware of where we are, what we're doing, and what we're putting out. Just because people don't fit in our circle doesn't mean that we have to spread toxicity to them or reject them. Hey, we're circles over here and you're a
Right.
square doesn't
Over
mean
there.
that we're both shapes, but we're just not the same shape.
Right.
We have our purpose, and there may be times when we can come together to do something, but just because you're a square doesn't mean haha square. Just because you're a square doesn't mean that we can't. You're any different or you're any less than who we are. And I think that that's one of the things that First Corinthians 13 really kind of like frames out and hammers out for us that there is one body and there's many parts. And but not every part has something to do with the rest of the body. You know what I mean? My feet can't do what my hands do. Well, some people do. I was in DC one time. That's another story.
Lord.
I'm going to tell it because I'm here. So I was in DC one time, minding my business at brunch with my friends, and one of my friends says, "Don't look too hard, but look to the left." And I looked to the left, and there was someone who was disabled, and they were eating like with their utensils with their feet. I had never seen that before in my life. Had never seen that before. That was so
I thought you meant
weirdly
like a
amazing.
furniture.
No, 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 no. No. It was just woo-wee. Well, DC did have some great times. But no, like that was like one of the weirdest things that I had ever seen. But it showed me like going back to First Corinthians 13, like it showed me like while every part of the body has its place, right? Everybody can't do everything. But just because you're missing some pieces does not mean that the body cannot still function until you can get a resolution for those other pieces. So I definitely think that in the body of Christ, we need to look more at ourselves and look at what a healed version of ourselves really is. I love what you said, like making sure that we're not so healthy that we become unhealthy. Um, because we can do that. We do that a lot, and we have clicks and we have clacks and we have all the things, right? Um,
Hmm.
but it definitely becomes something, and it ends up dividing us, and it makes us not who God called us to be, which is a unified front, despite whether we're putting up one finger during the holy, holy, holy hymn or not. Did y'all see that with S.Y. Younger?
No.
No? Oh, gosh. Okay. I'll have to send it to you. You'll get my comment later. But listen, guys, I really do appreciate you very, very much for joining us tonight in this podcast. This is a really dope time and a great conversation. Do you guys want to give anything real quick to the listeners before we go regarding this topic? My
What
introverts,
I'll
it's
say,
all good. Go
well, no,
ahead.
what I'll say is that, and it kind of, just piggybacks off of what we just talked about, but really that healing is not singular, right?
Mm,
So we're not just healed and I'm healed forever. It takes
yeah,
maintenance. Just
it's a
like, your
process.
health,
Yeah,
Hmm.
it is a
yeah.
process and it takes maintenance. And so the healed James, in 2025, that version of what I'm going through and the place that I'm in life in 2026, I need to make sure that my healing is maintained for where I am in this particular space and place in
Mm,
life. And so that's just something for me to keep in mind that, you have to maintain your healing. It's not just one and done.
absolutely, absolutely.
I would say that healing is
Children's
not
bread.
a it it is the children's bread. Um, but it's not a solo effort. Uh,
Mm,
we everything that we do in church happens through community when we
yeah,
involve ourselves with other people. And so it's
absolutely.
so important for us to be around healed people to even know what
Mhm.
healing looks like
Wow,
Absolutely.
in
that's
order to
that's
pursue
dope. Yeah,
after it.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
And then once we identify it, then we have people who can now be our strength to help us to heal. And so,
Hmm.
like James said, I absolutely agree. It's not a one time event. You don't just get healed on Tuesday and that's complete. It's constantly happening as you are experiencing salvation. You're constantly being healed of old wounds, of new wounds that came, different things of that nature, and all of that's done in the confines of community.
Absolutely. That's very powerful as well. That was yeah, very true. Absolutely. Well, guys, I want to thank you so
Well, wait,
much.
hold on. What you got, sir?
Oh, hold on.
What do you have?
What do I have? As
Yeah.
far as what I have to tell the people, listen,
Yeah.
I tell the people this all the time, right? As you guys said, healing is a process. You definitely do need community, but I also think that one of the biggest things is guard your peace, protect it at all costs. Because one of the things that we have to make sure is that we don't give up the thing that we fought for a relationship or for a situationship or for a friendship. You can't sacrifice that hard work to possibly go backwards again. So make sure you're recognizing those safe spaces. Make sure you treasure those safe spaces. Make sure
Mm-hmm.
you honor those safe spaces. Don't damage those safe spaces, because then they don't become safe anymore.
Mhm.
And when you are ending those unhealthy cycles, make sure that you are consistently reminding yourself it's okay. That cycle had to come to an end. That thing had to stop because it was killing me. And you have to consistently reaffirm yourself, because if not, you can fall back into familiar spaces.
That's good. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing.
no problem. Hold me accountable. I love it. That's why you're my friend. So as we close out today's episode, I also want to leave this with you as well. Each and every one of us, we deserve relationships that reflect your healing. You deserve connection that is safe, that's healthy, and aligned with who you're becoming. Choosing that kind of connection, though, it requires a sense of awareness, it requires maturity, and it requires the courage to walk away from what no longer fits your life and your growth period. But just because you're healed, you don't just connect differently, though. Like, you choose differently every day. Every day you have to make a choice to choose something different. And knowing that sometimes choosing differently, it comes with weight, the weight of purpose and the weight of growth and the weight of simply becoming who God is calling you to be. So next week, I'm hyped as well, because I've got all these great guests this week, this season, and I'm really hyped about it. So our next episode, I'm being joined by my bishop, well, our bishop, because Irene almost wore me out on Sunday for that one. Our bishop, Brian Knight, and we're talking about what to do when purpose just simply feels heavy, what it looks like to carry out our calling without burnout, how to manage the pressure of purpose, and how to stay aligned with God without losing yourself in the process. And I'm telling y'all, this man flipped my church out in 30 minutes flat a few weeks ago. So don't miss this episode. I'm telling you, because it's going to be really, really good. You know where you are. You know how to find us. We're on Amazon Music. We're on Apple Podcasts. We're on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Find us again, subscribe, like, and don't keep this to yourself. Make sure somebody else is following us as well. This is the Restoration Room. Come in broken, leave rebuilt, and stay whole. Good night, everybody.
Each episode blends real talk, biblical truth, and restorative insight. We give you the tools to rise above.